Hello everyone, welcome to our channel Android Developer, where we tackle real world problem. In our last video, we have created get started screen. Today we'll write test case for it. So why test case are required? Test case ensure everything work as expected, even after adding new features. For instance, if we added a playing video feature in our get started screen, test case help confirm it continue to work despite new feature added, or if new developer is working on some feature or new tech update. So we'll follow test driven development for our application. What test driven development teach us that write case for every feature in your application to ensure everything runs smoothly. Android provide multiple test strategies. First one is unit test, which help to test smallest feature of your smallest unit of your application. Next is UI testing, which help to make sure that your UI is working as expected. Next one is instrumentation testing, which help to make sure that if any of your application using Android API, then using instrument testing, which it can help to validate it. Next one is snapshot testing, which help to validate your UI by taking by capturing picture and compare it with desired result. Another one is integration testing. It helps to test end-to-end flow in your application. Since we have developed UI for our screen, we'll focus on writing UI test case for today. Let's get started and see what we have to do. As you can see, we have Jira task and there are some following objective of today video. As user, I want to test video player is visible and playing video. I want to make sure player has no sound and video is repeating in loop and no control visible. I want to validate logo is visible along with app name. Want to validate category and description visible on screen. Next, want to validate category animation is running and changing content after every 3 seconds. Next, I want to validate description is getting changed after every 3 seconds. Next, I want to validate get starting button is visible and responding on tab. Last thing, I want to validate all of UI component visible on get started screen. Okay, enough of theory. Let's set up our environment to write some test cases. To write test cases, we need to set up some libraries. As you can see, we have set up Compose and JUnit testing library. We have also set up RoboElectric, which help conduct UI test in simulation mode. So why does we set up RoboElectric? What does RoboElectric do? When perform UI test, it require Android API and you have to spin up an emulator and write test case in Android test folder. Running Android emulator and testing in real time is time consuming process. With your RoboElectric, you can simulate all these and put all your test cases into Android test folder, which will execute like an unit test. But remember, RoboElectric test case can be unreliable for intensive UI test case. For those cases, it's better to use Android emulator for your UI test. Let's write our first test case. To validate video player is running properly without sound and control should be hidden. Let's create our first test function while following AAA methodology, that is arrange, act and assert. Let's validate video is visible. First, arrange, where we'll find out video view. Since video is created using Android view, we'll try to find it using tag or ID. Next, we'll assert if it is visible. Let's write our second test case, that to check is video is playing. Similarly, we'll do first find our video view and check if it is playing. Next test is about to player configuration to check is sound is on mute and control are hidden. And that's it. Let's run all our test cases and see all are working properly or not. And here we go. All our test cases are now passing. Let's test the app logo and app text. Since our app logo and image are creating using Compose, we'll write a compose test rule to validate them. We'll check whether the logo show the exact image and the text display the exact app name. Let's write our test case to validate logo image. We'll again follow AAA terminology, that is arrange, act and assert. First, arrange will find our logo view. To uniquely identify the component, let's add it to content description. Using the content description in Compose help us to identify the particular node. Next, we'll create custom semantic for our view. This help add additional information. In this case, the image name will be associated with our view. Then act and assert. We'll check if the component is visible and it is image name match what we have added in Compose using custom semantic. Next to a component is the app name. We'll check if the particular node with the app text is visible. Let's run our test cases and yes, it's working now. Next test case we have to validate is our animation running properly. Changing its content in given time along with description is getting changed or not. For that, we can use screenshot test as per Android and we can capture view screenshot and compare it with desired output. To implement that, we have to write test case in Android test and we have to run Android emulator. Fortunately, we have another way there using custom semantic. We can add our value to node and validate them using test compose. Let's see how we'll do it. First, let's see in order to change our category, we are recomposing our view every 3 seconds. And since we have applied our animation, value getting changed with animation. Let's add custom semantic and add value along the attribute. We have two kind of view. First is text with bold style, another with normal style. Let's understand. For first category has have style bold and remaining other have normal style. After second value will be with bold style and another value will be other text view with normal style. Similarly, after 6 seconds, third category with bold value and other with normal. Let's write our test cases. First, let's find out our category view and description view. Let's assert on category and description. Next test case is let's quickly fast forward time that can be achieved using compose clock and validate after 3 seconds. Same goes for last category value. Let's validate after 6 seconds. Last category should have style with bold and other category with normal formatting. Let's validate all our test cases and voila, our test cases are running properly. Let's write our next test case, that is validate get started button. First, we'll find using content description and then we'll assert is button visible or not. And that's it. Now we have tested our individual component. It's time to test our whole screen. Since get started is composed of subcomponent, video view, logo view, animation view and button view, all we have to test all our subcomponent visible on screen or not. For those, let's write an get started screen test case and using same methodology arrange, act and assert, we'll find all our component are visible and properly display on get started screen. And on running our test cases, all our test cases running fine. Now we have validated all our subcomponent and screen working as expected. Tomorrow, if anything break, our test case start failing, which help to identify that some portion of our screen is not working. And that's all for this video. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Developer signing off.